Today, if your Facebook and Instagram ads feel like a guessing game and you're not sure which ones to leave on and which ones to turn off, this video will change that. What's going on, gang? It's your boy Jerry the Ad Wizard coming back at you with a brand new video. So I'm about to walk you through the exact evaluation and weekly creative testing system that we use across all of our client accounts. So whether you're a DIY business owner, a digital marketeer, or an online advertiser, this isn't just the theory. This is a plug-and-play weekly routine for producing ads that consistently hit that target CPA. So guys, I'm going to go through the walkthrough in a screen share, but here's some things that you expect to learn. 1, how to test ads like a pro media buying team. 2, what metrics we look at on a daily basis. 3, exactly when to kill or when to scale your ad. And 4, how to log those creative learnings so that you can double down on the things that are working and create more iterations of those best performing ads. So guys, grab your coffees and grab your hats. It's time to spin up some ad magic. Okay guys, so I'm going to go through our systems and our processes in order to identify these things. Okay, so that you know exactly what you need to do to give you a good idea on how to manage and run your ads. So guys, I'd like to focus this on 3 core rules which will enable more predictive ad results, okay? 3 golden rules that we might follow in order to optimize our ads to get the best results possible. So the first rule that I would recommend is the fact that Meta and Instagram work really well with multimedia assets. Now, what do I mean by that? That means there needs to be a variety of different creatives. You need static image ads, you need UGC ads, you need animation ads if you can, you need explainer videos, you need a variety of different ad type. If one of them flops, you can upload another variant of what is working. Okay, that's super important that we constantly double down on the things that work, that we feed Meta and Instagram with loads of different types of ads. Once you can see which types of ads are working best, we can do more of those. But initially, let's try and use a whole multimedia approach to this, guys, right? So I'm using a range of different creative type. And I'd recommend probably for every 4th ad that you're testing, maybe out of 3, if you've got 3 ads running, test a 4th ad on a new different idea or angle or messaging hook, okay? This isn't creating new iterations of the things that are working, but you're creating and testing a new idea or a new angle. For us to get inspired around that, it's very typical that we start with the customer personas. Another idea is looking through competitor ads and seeing what's working within the industry already. A tool that I love to use there is Foreplay, not sponsored at all, but great tool to check out your competitor ads and to save different ads into different libraries, which means then you can always refer back and create emulated versions of those ads to see if it's going to work for your business. Ultimately, we're just testing formats here, guys. So that's rule number 1, is to make sure that you have a whole variety of different multimedia formats in order to test this stuff. I'm not going to go through this exact spreadsheet, but this is kind of what we look at with our clients as well. I'll go through the testing process shortly. Something here that's super, super important that I really want to hone your attention in on. How do you know what's working? This is rule number 2. Call it the CPA compass. How do we know what's working, what's not? When do we turn something off and when do we not? Obviously, you want to be looking at customer lifetime values and things like this as well as part of these equations. But the CPA, the cost per acquisition, depending, as you may have done an analysis on customer lifetime value, you know what the acceptable ranges are for your CPA. Okay, so for in this particular, what we might recommend is what is your target CPA, and then be willing to spend up to sometimes 4x the target CPA in order to validate. Okay, so a common thing that people ask is, when should I turn an ad off? When has it had enough budget? And what we might recommend as a foundational framework is to say, okay, well, what's your target CPA? We're going to times that by 4, and that's the budget, how much we're going to spend on this one ad, okay? And the problem here, guys, is that you may spend a lot of money and a lot of time on your creatives. If you're only spending a little bit to promote it, then you haven't fully tested it, okay? Sometimes, you may notice this as well, you may not get any conversions for 3-4 days of learning maybe, and on the 5th day you get 5 or 6, right? So it isn't an invalid test, it's just taking a little while for those conversions to happen. So that's looking at the time frame. Within this, make sure that you're spending enough to validate these tests, okay? So what is a high CPA target? The thing that we might do is times the target CPA by 4 and say, right, if any ad spends over this with 0 conversions, then we're going to turn that ad off. Okay, the low CPA target, you know, what is the CPA target that we're looking to optimize around? If we hit that, then we know, okay, this is a scalable ad. Okay, we're looking here at the 2 different CPAs. What's a high benchmark for your company or your business? And what's a low benchmark for your company or business to get that acquisition? And they are then markers that we can benchmark against in our data when we're monitoring through our data. You may also want to do another CPA here, just the target CPA. Typically, we know these things already. The target CPA within this framework, we do need to touch on that as well. What is the CPA that we're looking to target? So I'm speaking here about high or low measures of that. You need to also know what the target CPA is. And I'll give you some examples, guys, right? So say, for example, our target CPA is $20 here. So it's going to cost us to spend $20 or less to acquire a new acquisition, a new purchase, a new lead, a new customer, not taking into account the lifetime value, which you will do. Then within this example, okay, we've got a new creative that we want to test. The high CPA, okay, if this ad spends more than $80 with 0 conversions, then we'll turn that ad off, okay? This is ensuring that you're spending enough money and you're giving Meta enough firepower to go and find your conversions, okay, and to give it enough time. So within this example, it's that. And the low CPA target with this example could be $15 or $10, right? If we get $10, then we're hitting the low CPAs, and then that's a really good scalable ad, okay? So we're looking for around 10, 15, even less than that dollars for our CPA target. So these are some calculations that you can put together in order to identify, okay, if it's spent over this amount, that's what we need to turn this off. And if it spends less than this amount, we need to scale it, add it into a scaling ad set, or increase the budget on that ad set in order to gradually scale that ad. So what I would say, guys, is that if you do hit your target CPA, this is when you want to create a new iteration, okay? You want to scale those ads that hit the low CPA mark. You want to turn off the ads that hit the high CPA mark, whatever that is to your business. This is where we need to create potentially a new version based on that hook or a new iteration. So if you're seeing it is something that was working and it is hitting that CPA, create a new iteration, guys. See if you can get that even lower. This is your benchmark. Try and get it lower. Try and iterate on the things that are working. And lastly, one of the benchmarks that we look at as well is how many impressions has this, okay? Look at the audience size. How big is the audience? In this example, we're looking at an audience of around 6,000 people. Here, we can determine if we exceeded half that audience size with 50% of the impressions. Say, for example, we have a 6,000 person audience. If we get 3,000 impressions with 0 conversions in that time scale, depending again on how much we spend, this is something else where we might kill the ad, okay? Because it's been exposed, it's had some time within that audience, it's gained some impressions, it's got some reach, and if you had still 0 conversions, depending on how much it's spent, we might decide to turn that ad off. 2 other bonus benchmark metrics to watch out for is click-through rate and frequency. Okay, so click-through rate is how appealing the ad is. How drawn is somebody to wanting to click on that and take the next action, okay? If you're getting low click-through rates, a benchmark could be, and this doesn't include traffic campaigns, typically have aimed at driving traffic, so they have a lot higher click-through rate. This is for maybe a sales conversion campaign or a leads campaign. If you have under 1.5% click-through rate on your conversion ad, you may want to revisit that ad to see if you can get a better click-through rate, okay? It'll be more appealing and you'll drive more traffic there, meaning that the conversion rates increase as well. So if you have a low click-through rate, analyze the ad and look what might be driving that. The second metric that I would also really highly as a top tip suggest is frequency. But before we go anywhere else, and you're new here, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you never miss any more important updates. We're here many times a week to help business owners, online advertisers, and digital marketeers get the best from their online advertising, paid media, and digital marketing strategies. But without further ado, let's get on with the video. Frequency is the number of times your ad being shown to an audience. If you're looking at high frequency, it means that it's being shown many times, very little conversions happening. It could be that you're oversaturating that audience, nobody's taking action. And if the frequency is very high and you're still getting low conversions, you have to turn it off, guys. You have to analyze the data and maybe think, hey, is there something wrong with this ad? Should we change up the messaging, the hooks, the angles, and all those things? See if we can get better results. Okay, so I wouldn't necessarily peg turning something off to frequency, but if you have a high frequency with 0 conversions, this is another warning sign that might tell us, hey, there's an oversaturation here, and maybe we need to turn the ad off because it's not working. Right, the final and third rule that I will go through is weekly sprint testing. What is the process we use in the agency, as well as many other advanced marketeers may use a creative testing process. And here is a very simple one that you guys can follow at home for your business. Okay, just to go through this very quickly so you can read this, but first of all, Monday. This will make sense in a moment because it was a full circle week, so we analyzed the data from the previous week. And to set this creative sprint off for the next upcoming week, we formulate a new hypothesis based on what you have conviction in, what you think might work, okay? A leap of faith if you're starting off from scratch. Analyze the data and form a testing hypothesis. That is day 1. Day number 2, we're launching those ads and we're launching new A/B tests, okay? To test each other against the different ads, right? If you want to review a video where I go through this in depth, guys, click the video up in the top card. I'll put a top card in here so you can watch a video on the creative sprint process and what we do in order to test and validate those ads, I'll click a link in the top corner below so you can click over there and learn more about it. Woo! But I'm just going to go through it really quickly right now so you know exactly what to do in a really short, bite-sized format. Okay, Wednesday and Thursday, let them run. Obviously, we need to monitor, we need to check and tweak potentially. We need a learning period of some time. We say around here 3 to 5 days is the learning period. You'll see results fluctuate up and down during the learning period. It is trying to understand. The ad AI is trying to learn during this time. So expect fluctuations in the data. Okay, it's not consistent all the time in the learning phase. So we want to run those ads and we want to let them optimize. Okay, day number 5. At this point, if you haven't already, you're disabling the underperformers as the week goes on. Obviously, you want to hit those criteria of how much we've spent, how much we have, and looking at those CPAs, you want to disable anything that is underperforming at that point that you've established, and you want to scale those winners. Okay, so you identify your winners, have some of those winners hit the target CPA, and have some of those winners hit the low CPA bracket, so that in order to scale those particular ads. That's what we do on the Friday. And at the weekend, we monitor and optimize, keep those best performing ads running, keep ensuring that we're increasing the ad budget 10-20% on a daily to gradually increase the budget on those best performing ads and not recess it back into the learning phase. But it's very simple, guys, and super effective. Okay, you can actually tighten these creative sprints up so you're doing them every few days depending on the resources of the team. A week is very typical, and what we do then is we always feed the learnings back to the team so that they know what's working. We can get the results over to the creative team to create new best performing ads and all those nice things. And the C-suite and any of the high director team also super interested most of the time on what's working in the acquisition side, on the growth side, and what's working in the ads. So always really important to feed back in best performing ads, things that are working, hooks that are working, the certain blueprints of ads that you'll come to uncover as you do these creative sprints. You'll learn all of the mechanics as to what makes a really good ad for your business through these creative sprints. And you can feed all that stuff back to the directors, to the business owners, and all those kind of nice things. It's incredibly interesting and exciting stuff. World of growth. Ultimately, we're building up insights over time. Hopefully that was useful to you guys. Let me comment down below if you got any questions. And ladies and gentlemen, finally, I wanted to show you our creative testing and learning spreadsheet, where we log all of the aspects of each creative test so that we can monitor and analyze the best performing aspects of each one within the performance framework. So I'm going to quickly show you the spreadsheet, typically, of something that we might do around here. And we always start off with the hypothesis of what it is we're trying to measure. Okay, what is our hypothesis? Within this spreadsheet, we have a variety of different things. We have all of the creative in each batch. We have the key learnings from each batch after we've finished running the test. We've labeled the winners. We label all the other elements that have made this ad what it is. Okay, how long is it? What is the hook? What is the title? What is the text on the screen? And ladies and gentlemen, we also log some of the data around each of these results. Okay, so really important for us to monitor how our creatives is performing. Now, it's not essential to do this, obviously, but it depends how vigorous you want to be doing your performance creatives, because it's very important to keep these learnings logged so that you can double down on the ads, batch after batch, test new ideas, test new hypotheses, and see what works for your business. So then we go into batch 2 with the new hypotheses, batch 3 with the new hypotheses, and we're always monitoring and always keeping track and noting down the things that make these ads great, right? So we're creating a blueprint here so that time after time, we're creating those learnings so that we can create a master ad which encompasses and embodies a lot of these different learnings, and we found highly successful and are getting a very good CPA. Ladies and gentlemen, they result in you having the learnings to identify what makes your ad great so that you can emulate those in your new ads and create blueprints of things that work well for your business. Thanks, guys. And we've had a bunch of people ask us for a proper walkthrough of how I approach these things, how our agency manages these ads. So I'm going to put together a full ad course covering testing, scaling, conversions API, creative sprints, you name it, it's going to be in there. And if you want to get burst access or want to hit the wait list to get access to this course, click the link down below so you can drop your email and join the wait list. No spam, guys, just real ad tips that work. Woo. And that's it for today, guys. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate all the questions and all the love you guys have been sending. As always, drop a question down in the comments. Maybe I'll answer it in the next video. I'm your boy Jerry the Ad Wizard. You can find me on LinkedIn at Jerry Griffiths, on Instagram and X at Jerry Ad Wizard, and at Jerry Dreadlocks everywhere else. If you want to watch a step-by-step process on what we do within a creative testing sprint. Okay, click this video over here. I got a step-by-step process in exactly how we do that with our clients. I'm your boy Jerry the Ad Wizard, and wherever you are in the world, I bid you peace and love and a wonderful rest of your day. And as always, I'll catch you in the next one.